if you've been near an apartment community, you've got some rotting tennis courts.
Okay.
A tennis court can be converted into a pickleball court with tape and paint.
Right.
Go to your city council members and say, hey, I got an idea. They love community. Like, one of their jobs is to create community and make sure people feel seen, valued, and heard. And they have a budget. Convert a tennis court that's not being utilized, but it can also remain a tennis court and be a pickleball court.
Good morning. We're here live at the pod. We're at Smashing Plastic Pickleball. So glad you guys could join us. We have a guest today that I hope you guys all recognize. If not, you will after this podcast. Josh Gale, how are you, sir?
Good, Tommy. Thanks for having me on. It's a beautiful place out here. I can't wait for others to be able to come visit and see all that you've got going on out here.
I appreciate it big time. So Josh and I actually have known each other for many moons through different avenues. We are both, we'll call Bucks. So go Bucks. I've known Josh since he was a Buccaneer at CSU. And then most importantly, I met him through praise and worship at River Bluff Church. He has been a part of my life nearly for a decade. So when this pickleball venture started, I get a random text one day from Josh Gale asking me some very random questions like, hey, dude, I'm at Walmart. I need a paddle. That's literally how this text goes. So what I'm going to do is allow the microphone to go over to Josh Gale, my buddy, and he's going to tell his little story about his introduction to the beloved world of pickleball.
Yeah. Well, I want to rewind just a little bit. So I've known you well over a decade as well. I knew you when you had one paintbrush, and just have watched God just explode and bless your family and bless your business and your hard work. You're one of the most hardworking people that I've ever met. And so when God blesses hardworking people, I love it. I just also want to clarify, there is a rumor that the Smashing Plastic Pickleball logo actually was, let's see.
This guy right here, all eyes, the mighty eyes.
The inspiration for this guy on the pickleball is actually Jerry Hunter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dr. Hunter. If you're listening to this, you should be. And if you're not, then you will be very soon. But that is truth. 100%. We're all inspired by Buck Nation as much as we possibly can, and the fearless leader for many generations. And many of my dollars, many of your dollars, and my soul, including my wife's dollars. So, Dr. Hunter, where you're at, this is my tip of the cap of many moons of seeing eyes as we neared the stage of graduation at Charleston Southern University. Thank you.
That's it. All right. So, friends would constantly say, hey, Josh, let's play pickleball. I know you're competitive. I know you love to have a good time. And I would, just pokes here and there for actually a couple of years.
Okay.
And you know how busy I am.
Sure.
If I don't make time for it and put it in my schedule, it doesn't happen. So finally, and then of course, we've got 4 kids. And I did realize that once you get into a pickleball court, you can close the gate and they can't go anywhere.
A to the men.
So I said, hey, Melissa, I don't want to go play anybody without having played before. I know she was extremely good at tennis at Fort Dorchester High School. And so I'm like, maybe this will translate,
sure.
And we love to play tennis. So let's go ahead and we got to, we can't just show up and go play pickleball with people. Like, I want to be competitive. I want to have the edge. I want us to be prepared. We're a team. We can't go out there looking like circus clowns. So, I convinced my mother-in-law to watch the kids. And I said, Tommy, I got a couple hours real quick before I have to go pick up my kids. Where can I get a pickleball paddle? Like, is there, I think Walmart's got like 2 different brands. I could just hear the silence of, oh God, Josh, do what you have to do, but there's a big difference in all of that. And so then I show up to the pickleball court, and I realize in my bag I've got 2 different balls, and trying to look at them, and without any explanation, was using the wrong pickleball, and somebody had to correct me on that. tennis was not translating
No?
into pickleball the way that we thought it would. The ball would either go nowhere or everywhere. But then we started to get into a groove, and we were laughing, and we had a blast, and we were trying to figure out the next time we could get out there together, just 1v1 with just my wife and I. And so now I'm loving it.
Yeah, the couple things that we'll pick up there. First and foremost, you're absolutely right. When you text me or actually called me from the store, I did about, I think I told you about crashing the ditch when you said that you needed to get a paddle from Walmart, and I was like, bro, let me find you. I've got my bag with me. Remember this? Yeah, I will get you some paddles.
Yeah.
But secondly, the thing I want to pick up on is the fact that you said you were laughing. And I don't know about you, but I feel like the world could use a lot more laughter. So whether that is pickleball or cooking or running or whatever it may be, I'm a big proponent for laughter. And I have, as you know, coached many things and still to this day coach many things. But one of the things that I love the most about pickleball is laughter.
Yep.
Give us a little bit, not a lot of lengthy deal, but just give us some of the insight onto that. Like when you say laughter, like how refreshing is that with your spouse to legitimately smile and have a good time, not thinking about anything other than a yellow silly ball?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it. Parenting 4 children, working really hard, constantly on the go, to be able to stop with your spouse and have a moment that's there's blood flowing in your body. There's chemicals moving in your brain. There's vitamin D pouring out from the sky,
Sure.
on your skin. And so sitting out there and just being able to not take each other super seriously, to number one, play a game called Pickleball, which I still don't understand. Like, is there a brine that you put them in? And to know, like, I want to be good at everything that I do.
Sure.
But I don't have to take myself extremely seriously playing a game called Pickleball. So that takes a little bit out of it, and I'm sure there was some strategy in that. Second of all, you can break a sweat and, but you're not huffing and puffing all over the place. And so you can actually have an entire conversation with somebody that you're not. In tennis, you're far enough away and you're running pretty dang hard. It's difficult to have a conversation.
I agree. I definitely agree.
Pickleball, we're in a little bit closer quarters.
Correct.
And there's some between, rallies, there's time to talk and there's time to reflect on how that just happened and, all that kind of stuff. And so it's actually a more intimate type of sport than you really think it is. There are places everywhere now that I realize, now that I'm getting into it, that I can literally go anywhere and play pickleball.
Yeah, I feel like you're right. I mean, I don't have a massive tennis background. I've kicked it around just a little bit while we were in college, but I will say this. Even in doubles for tennis, you're staring at the backside of your partner the entire time you're playing, right? It's odd to have a sport where you're shoulder to shoulder. Being a football guy, even in that sense, I can understand your conversations are very limited when you're trying to keep a 265-pound guy from coming through the line.
That's kind of you is actually more than that.
But on pickleball, when you're shoulder to shoulder, and it's cool, right, to be with your spouse, you know what I mean? That's right beside you, and you guys are going to go as one against the 2 people across from you. That's really cool because you feel like you're already kind of doing that day to day, and then when you can do that in an athletic setting, I'm a big fan. I know not everybody can play with their spouse, and I get that, and I definitely don't want to create any quarrels on the pickleball court, but I do know there are some healthy relationships enough out there to where they can competitively compete together, and you can smile even if you're not quote unquote winning, knowing that you and your spouse are locked in, gauged into to smashing some plastic. You know what I mean? Which is a really cool thing. I feel like that a lot of couples can benefit from. That's for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's as long as or as short as you want the game to be. You can play as many matches as you'd like to. Golf, you're in it for 9 to 18 holes,
Yeah,
and then you're out a couple dollars, and at the mercy of a lot of different types of elements. Pickleball is pretty simple in the fact that you can just pick it up and give as much as you've got.
I think right now would be a great way. Let's talk a little bit about, and again, I love this because we have Josh Gale here who literally is as about as fresh to pickleball as you can be, and we can explain a little bit about the equipment differences that are on camera that will help hopefully some people that really don't have a whole lot of insight on the differences. And we don't have to get too technical, but being a professional PPR certified instructor, I feel like it's my we'll say duty to do so real quick, and we'll enlighten you and kind of school you on some stuff. That way going forward you will not be as not we'll say a noob into the world of equipment, if that's good with you.
Absolutely. I have a Rolodex in my phone of somebody for everything. And next to your name is like an entire notes section of things that I call you about. And that's pretty awesome. What was available at Walmart was an Onyx Recruit, compressed plywood, made in China. And you don't want to leave this one outside or in the car too long.
I love it because at the end of the day, I'm going to see that, Josh, to show this camera. So basically, and all of a sudden, ladies and gentlemen, he's got a legitimate bona fide starter wooden paddle. And what's interesting about that is that I would say the majority, Josh, of people that start this game somehow or another do exactly what you do. They go to the nearest store, whether it be a beach store or a Walmart or whatever, and that's typically what we'll see. And believe it or not, that's how the game was started. Wood paddles is how the game started. And then you're now to the point to where you are in, carbon fiber, Kevlar, tungsten, anything that you can think of that is going to be a spaceship material is now all of a sudden a pickleball paddle, which would lead us to an entirely different, podcast that we could talk about the technology and where the sport's going. But I do want to say this. Number one, everybody starts with that. Like literally everybody starts with that. So don't kick yourself too hard. But two, the difference in weight alone of this, so pick up that one, Josh, and then now pick up the one that you have. They are legitimately, it's night and day. So
it is night and day. This is your brand new road bike, carbon fiber. This is the Schwinn steel frame, one that you grew up with in the 80s.
It's exactly right. So we can legitimately bona fide utilize this as a shelter should something happen.
Yep.
This one right here, we're just going to smash plastic balls with and call it a day.
Yeah.
The other thing that you've got in front of you that I want to make sure that we make the huge difference is the balls. And we could talk about pickle balls until we are blue in the face. There are that many assortments, and they continue to be more and more each and every week, literally. But as of right now, the simplest thing to decipher this is going to be the amount of holes that you see on camera. So outdoor balls are always going to have more holes, and they're going to be smaller holes. It's got a different color, of course, but typically an indoor ball is going to have a much softer feel. Like when you push it, you can compress it a little bit.
Yep.
And then most importantly, guys, it's going to have much larger holes, and they're not going to have nearly the number. I would say if you were going to play indoor, you can definitely use an outdoor ball inside. You cannot use an indoor ball outside. It completely changes the game.
I learned that really quickly.
Yeah, they don't go anywhere, right? Like you can absolutely just hit the absolute smack out of it, and it doesn't go anywhere, whereas the outdoor ball really does fly, a lot better. Yeah. So in summary, to give a very quick synopsis of equipment, number one, no matter what, pick up a pickleball paddle wherever you're at and go through some different ones and try them. I am technically right now certified and sponsored by the gracious company of Head. They do an amazing job. They're a super quality paddle, and they have various sizes. They have various price points. I right now have the Radical Grit, which is a tour paddle. It's almost like a composite of graphite right now. It's a super light paddle, but most importantly, it's got really good texture and spin. Josh, if you will drag your hand right there, you'll see what I mean. Do you feel that? Yeah. So it's almost like I don't want to use the word sandpaper, but it's got a texture to it that allows the ball to spin. And spin and pickleball are your friends. The more that you can pronate it or supinate or whatever word that you want to put in your vocabulary for spinning it, it will, just like in table tennis, allow you to control the ball's flight and keep it in court. Whereas this has no texture to it whatsoever, super slick. So you've really got to be good with maintaining, good posture, but most importantly, rolling over that shot. Nothing wrong with it, just a completely different paddle. Yeah. Comments, questions, concerns in regards to any of the equipment that we've gone over thus far?
No, having a large family though, I start shopping in July for Christmas. So is there, I know Smashing Plastic has a store online.
We do.
Is there anything I could take advantage of coming up in July.
That's a great point. I feel like absolutely we should have a Christmas in July special, and we'll actually get a promo code, and I will put that on this link so you'll be able to click on it and save you some money going in July as we're all heading into that beautiful summer splash. You guys can get some gear from Smashing Plastic Pickleball, whether it be a shirt. Our paddles are just about gone, which is awesome. These are the newest ones that we have out. These are the Kevlars. These are fantastic. We're getting a lot of reviews on those. And then secondly, these are just your standard tungsten. Everybody knows about carbon fiber. It spins the ball really, really well. Super light. Both of these will be up there, so we'll get you a link on those.
Yeah. And just to say, starting out, just keeping the ball in the court, in the there's the kitchen.
Sure.
There's the terminology, which is, you can Google really quickly what the terminology of the court is. The serving order, which is different than tennis. There's, quite a few different things that a quick Google search can kind of give you a brief overview of, how to get started, so that, playing with some friends, you don't show up unprepared at first.
Right.
Which I think is what everybody's getting into. This is one of the greatest ways to get together with some friends that doesn't break the bank, and we can get into that some more. One thing also I did notice, popped on Amazon Prime the other day and realized there is a pickleball channel on Amazon Prime. Yeah. And I saw a lot of people that looked like me playing pickleball.
I'm sure.
And larger frames, some people that look like they've had 1 or 2 knee surgeries, some people that just didn't look like they could complete a mile, and they were spinning a pickleball. They were, this one lady, she was trolling some other people.
She was gross.
She was gross.
Yeah.
And I was finding myself celebrating this woman and her victory, because I saw myself like,
sure,
that's a normal person. Like, that's not a Tom Brady. That's not a Sean Monahan out there. That's actually a real person. Yeah,
I feel like at the end of the day, that's one of it's a great point, and one of the comparables to golf all the time, right? Like, you can legitimately bona fide as good as Tiger is, and best ever, in my opinion. But there are certain shots that every once in a while that he hits that you as a normal human being can say, hey, I can make a 6-foot putt. Like, legitimately been on a golf course to do that. In pickleball, we have the ability too, to where you can look at somebody, whether they're professional on PPA Tour or MLP or whatever it may be, or like you said on Amazon, and they can make particular shots or look a certain way, like you said, and you can find yourself in comparison to be like, hey, I'm not that far off from that individual, right? Like, at the end of the day, that is a huge proponent, I think, of so many folks that are finding pickleball and their competitive juices to be filled, in that sport. That's for sure.
Yep.
With that being said, I feel like our next segment is going to be awesome and right up your alley. We're going to take this time to thank our sponsors, because we couldn't do it without them. Again, Josh Gale, can't thank you enough. Let's take a quick breather and get ready to introduce the beloved role of community, Josh Gale, and all that comes with pickleball.
Your home is more than just a place. It's your pride, your sanctuary. Its exterior is the first impression it gives to the world, and a shield that protects you from the elements. But over time, weather and wear can dull its shine and compromise its safety. That's where we come in. At First Class Painting and Restoration, we bring your property back to life with our premium painting services. Using state-of-the-art tools and techniques, we deliver exceptional results on time and within budget. As a local award-winning company with over 15 years of experience, we're known for our family reputation and unique culture. We're not just painters, we're craftsmen who care about our community and the people we serve. We're committed to bettering our customers, employees, and community through the fun trade of painting. So choose First Class Painting and Restoration and experience the difference of a company that cares. Because making your house feel like home is our first-class service.
All right.
Yeah, so community for me is a huge thing. I've got friends from all sorts of different backgrounds, from all nations of the world, and people that want to spend time together. And, in today's economy and everything, you and I, God has blessed us, and we can be benefactors and bless others. But I'm not looking for every opportunity to go out to dinner every single night and hire a babysitter and then drop $100 on dinner at least.
Sure.
And I do like to eat well. Pickleball is free. And you're actually, doing yourself some good by getting out and moving, and you're not limiting yourself to a table and to just, um, certain conversation. You're getting out and you're making memories together. You're learning to level the playing field and kind of not take yourself too seriously. And there's something to be said about that. So we've got several places right around where we live that, that seems to be the plan.
Yeah, I feel like at the end of the day, one of the things, and we've talked about this in the past a little bit, but I don't know about you, but at 40 years old, 41 years old, 42 years old, 21 years old, 50 years old, like at the end of the day, like making new friends is not something that we'll just put it on the calendar, right? Like you legitimately bona fide. It's not that you don't want new friends. It's that you are so preoccupied, and the word of the day is consumed by just quote unquote making a living.
Right.
For you to have a legitimate bona fide healthy means of making new acquaintances that become friends and friendships that grow deep. I don't know. I really don't know if a pickleball court can have a comparable measure at this exact moment of meeting new people.
No, I don't think so. And it's people that, have something in your thing in common is getting out and getting moving and playing pickleball with a little bit of competitiveness.
Sure. And it doesn't matter, like you said, one of the things that I love the most is it doesn't matter color, the creed, the religion, the old, new, young. It doesn't matter. Like, the mantra of our pickleball slogan, of course, is this ain't your grandma's pickleball. That's not a knock to grandma. That's a knock to the fact that it is no longer a 75-year-old person's sport. Like you can go to a court any day. I was in Ace Pickleball Club this weekend. As you know, with my ball team down in Atlanta, and there is a 10-year-old, there's a famous ESPN sportscaster that's beside me, which was really cool, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But at the end of the day, it just blows my mind every time, no matter where I go in the cities that I'm at, that you can go on a pickleball court and you, honest to goodness, do not know who you're going to bump into there.
Wow. And that excites me, to be able to go places and to just jump in and with people, and it doesn't matter how well you know each other, and that's really neat.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things to where I feel like at the end of the day, if I'm a community guy and I'm in politics, Josh, and I'm involving myself into things that need to connect people, and most importantly, they are connected people without an agenda or an angle. Right, because that's the ugly word that nobody talks about in politic or in community is angle. Right, like I need to meet this guy because of X. Right, I have no angle in pickleball. I legitimately go there. I don't care who you are. If you have a paddle and you make our foursome so that we can play pickleball, I want you to play with us. And I would have never done that. You don't even do that in a foursome of golf. You know what I mean? Because you don't want that guy to quote unquote ruin your foursome of golf, right? No matter what that may be, you're with this guy for 4 hours. Well, in pickleball, I may be with this guy for 7 minutes if we get smoked 11-0 and I rotate to another guy.
Right.
It's a really cool way that you can bump shoulders with somebody that you realistically would probably never do that, because at the end of the day, there's no angle.
No. And but the beauty of it is too that you can mix and match talent levels.
Sure.
It reminds me of Little League Baseball.
Okay.
I'd have teams saying, "Oh man, I'm bringing my travel ball over here to rec league, and I want to have these certain guys, and I know we can be the best if we have everybody that I want to have."
Sure.
Kind of things that sometimes you see happen, but one of the beauty of starting out in rec league baseball, which is my world,
Sure.
right? Yeah. Is being able to mix and match skill levels. And I just want to say, I'm not knocking travel ball. What I'm saying, though, is in Little League Baseball, which you will have on travel ball and rec league, different skill levels, to be able to put a winning team together with different skill levels. And then as an athlete, too, I want to know how good I am by who I can play next. It doesn't matter who I play next to.
Right.
That, I'm learning to make that person better.
Sure.
And so then, my focus today is actually not just winning. My focus is also getting Billy to be the best that Billy can be. And if Billy learns a new trick today, or we can correct some stinking thinking that Billy's kind of brought into pickleball, like that's a victorious day.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, we could do a whole nother podcast and talk that angle alone, but development, you know what I mean, over quote unquote parity, over legitimately quote unquote winning are all things that as rec or travel or whatever it is sport wise that you're doing. In pickleball, one of the things that I do love about it is the ability for one, you can pick it up quickly. Two, any type of athleticism whatsoever is a benefit, whether it's a basketball athleticism, a soccer athleticism, a disc golf. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your athleticism is because it's such a unique and different sport that it allows you to quickly pick it up, identify what you can and what you cannot do, and most importantly, you can fail with fun through it.
Fail with fun.
A lot of, maybe that's a shirt, but
That's a shirt.
yeah, failing with fun through pickleball for me is easier than a very high skill set baseball game. Because there's a lot of things that are going on in the baseball game, right? Whereas in pickleball, and I'm not knocking anybody, you know, as you know, professional pickleball guy, I get playing high level pickleball is different than rec pickleball. But for the majority of people that want to get on the court, you can literally pick it up quickly, have fun with it, and most importantly, you'll want to do it again.
Yeah. Well, you'll discover that you're not as terrible as you think you would have been. Just stepping onto the court for the first time and just getting out of the way all of the things that you've already made in your mind that you think of how it's going to go, and how terrible you might be. Just that first time stepping onto the court, it's a little contagious.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And you are already looking forward to your next opportunity.
Yeah, I feel like that's a real thing. And, you know, you have all these slogans and shirts and everything made about, you know, just one more game. But it really is that I don't know a whole lot of other sports because between you and I, when we coach baseball or football, whatever it is, the main sport, and you lose, I got to tell you, you need a breather before you're ready for game 2. And sometimes that could be the next day. Sometimes that can be the next week. In pickleball, if you lost 0-11 to me right now, you'd want to turn right back about and play.
No, absolutely.
There's very few sports that have that.
Yeah.
If any that I know of outside of pickleball. Does that make sense? Especially for competitive people.
It does. Well, and it teaches, you know, especially as you're developing children, it teaches that goldfish memory.
Oh.
Hey, a goldfish has a memory for how long?
1 second.
1 second. Forget about it. Make a better play. Forget about it. Make another error.
Right.
It's, you know, literally, we want children to understand, number one, and a friend texted me this morning. They said, Josh, my son is extremely competitive. We're going to swim lessons today, and there's another kid. We're not even competing in swimming. And my son's saying, hey, I'm better than you. You're not as good as me. Things like that. And saying, hey, Josh, like, I don't really care for that. How would you recommend that I would actually approach, you know, taking care of that? Number one, let's always, at a young age, learn to celebrate everybody, like their effort, number one. Sure. You know, we're not giving out participation trophies every time.
Right.
Like, that's not me.
Right.
But when somebody does something that's worth celebrating, celebrate it. We got to become each other's cheerleaders. When I love it. I've seen you, you know, as a coach, celebrate the other team's player for making a ESPN top 10 and going out there and shaking that kid's hand and saying, dude, that was amazing.
Right.
How you just did that.
Right. I would say, just like you said, like literally just encourage the fact that the effort that it's taking to do whatever it is, regardless of the outcome, is worth celebration.
Yeah.
Somehow or another, we've gotten off of that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I honestly have to be your enemy for me to win. Right? Like, I don't understand where that comes from. I don't know if that's a cultural thing now. I don't quite understand why there's not enough success in the world for both you to win and me to win, including on the baseball field or on the pickleball court. I will never understand that lack mentality. And as a coach, I will tell you this, it's one of the biggest battles that I battle with 16-year-old young men right now that I'm dealing with. And I'm hoping they're listening to me right now because they will tell you I beat this with a dead horse. Your identity cannot be in your victory. No. And your identity definitely can't be in your batting average. And your identity definitely cannot be in the play that you have to make every single time the ball comes your way. Because if it is, your identity is going to be chaos.
Yep.
And in pickleball, one of the beautiful things that I love about it is, just like you said, you can truly have a goldfish mentality because the games are played so fast, they're over so quickly, and most importantly, they are probably done in a rec phase that really, in all honesty, you don't care.
Right.
So you always hear this adage like, you know, make money like you don't care, dance like you can't, you know, that you don't have legs. Like you hear these sayings all the time, but they're so true. Like, legitimately, if you can learn to truly embrace the actual victory of playing
Right.
as opposed to the victory of winning. And as you know, I hate losing more than any person on the planet, but I hate not playing more.
Right.
You know what I mean? I hate
Absolutely.
not playing more.
Absolutely. And just, so, all right, I'm the type of person,
Give me an introductory, give me a lesson or two, and I'm on my way.
Sure.
Like I got, like, give me the end, give me like the basic necessities,
So 101.
the 101, and then, dude, I'm take me from there. So, if you being a professional coach, can somebody
sign up for 1 or 2 lessons and then send them on their way.
So this is perfect. And we talked a little bit about this last time, but I will absolutely 100% the answer to that is yes. I will highly encourage till the day that I am, in a wheelchair playing pickleball at 711 years old, take a 101 class. And if it's with Coach Tommy, great. Love to have you. Come out to the farm. Be more than happy to put you in a group through 101. We do this all the time. It's a great way because 1, it's safe. 2, you can ask all the questions and bring your wooden paddle with no judgment.
Right.
And 3, the most important part of this is you are now linked shoulder to shoulder with somebody that is in the same arena that you are, and you're probably going to take that journey with them as you go to the 102, to playing your first tournament. All of those things are really great about the 101 classes. When I was the instructor on LTP Daniel Island, one of the beautiful things to this day that I look at is now I have players that are at 4-0, 4-5, 5-0 players that are winning tournaments nationally, basically on big levels.
Wow.
That all started at 101 classes.
Wow.
They all started at 101 classes. And I'm not saying it's because of me and my wonderful skill set of coaching. I'm saying that we created a really cool environment for you to get very interested in the game that was safe. And then just like you said, they took it from there. They can contact me for personal lessons. They can go find a guy or a gal that's a higher level that will make them better. And you can chase that competitive juice as much as you want to, or you can keep it as your Sunday social after church that you do with your wife to get some calories burned and have fun with her. However the angle is that you want to do is entirely your prerogative. But the beautiful thing about connecting with people that are where you're at is you can take that journey with them.
Absolutely. I love that. So if they wanted to do that, how are they going about finding a clinic?
Yeah, so
What?
we are very fortunate to where around us, 1, you can obviously go directly through Smashing Plastic. You can DM us. We have classes that we do monthly. You can actually reach out to your local vendors. Most of these places like the Pickle Bar in Summerville have 101 and 102, which are great. Jake does a great job out there. Kiowa has them. I know West Ashley's got them. The indoor complex at Crush Yard in Mount Pleasant has them. Around our area, the facilities are definitely going to have the 101s and the 102s. Or most importantly, you can actually legitimately just connect with people that are at your local public courts that are free and be wise on where you go, because there's going to be certain courts that are going to have higher level players than others. And I promise you, there's going to be somebody there that will open their arms and allow you to play. And if not, you are going to DM me directly and I'm going to come and I will help you myself.
I love that. I'll always wait till the end of somebody else's game and hang around and say, hey, I saw you were doing this kind of thing.
Sure.
You got a second? Just kind of show me, like, why did you do it that way? What are tips that you have? Number 1, if I had any advice for anybody, and it might be a gift for me, don't be afraid of no.
Oh, yeah.
Just ask somebody a question. I literally very rarely, the only time I have somebody tell me no, sometimes I ask the waitress, how can I pray for you?
Right.
She may say no sometimes. But people are out there, because they are social, and they don't be afraid to open a conversation. Don't be afraid to ask a silly question. Don't be afraid, and of any of those things. This is a great. What I've discovered is the pickleball community is a great community.
Yeah, and I think we'll end on that to where if I'm wanting to get my community more involved, and I mean that from a small scale. I live in Branchville, South Carolina, and I want us to get courts all the way to I live in Charlotte or I live in Atlanta, Josh, and we don't have enough public courts. Give us a quick 2-minute, 3-minute synopsis of you in the politic world. Who and how do they go about at least communicating with who has the power to at least be able to make the decision maker to help them with that?
Yeah. So we have, obviously, if you've been near an apartment community or any kind of, no matter if you're 1,000 people in your city or 100,000, you've got some rotting tennis courts.
Okay.
You've got weeds growing through them, all those different things. A tennis court can be converted into a pickleball court with tape and paint.
Right.
Go to your city council members and say, hey, I got an idea. They love community. Like, one of their jobs is to create community and make sure people feel seen, valued, and heard. And they have a budget. and they have a budget that you don't even realize that they have, and the tax dollars that you've already paid in locally. Convert a tennis court that's not being utilized, but it can also remain a tennis court and be a pickleball court.
So that you don't have this, now all of a sudden we're battling the tennis people. Like, where pickleball is already doing this, right?
Yeah. And then, find an advocate, which is usually a city councilor, somebody at City Hall. Find an advocate and then begin to create community and say, hey, we're going to start with a Facebook invite from the city, and we're going to dedicate this new pickleball court that was actually just rehabbed from a tennis court that nobody was using because, sometimes people don't have, that's a little bit more skill at some point to get a ball a lot further across a court. And just rehab a tennis court, and then call it a victory, and then invite some people out. And sometimes the city can even provide balls and paddles and things like that, and just build some hype about it. And at the end of the day, either you did a really cool thing by making something that was dying court into something new, and then you've also piqued the interest of people who have been maybe a shut-in. There's a book that was released over a decade ago called Bowling Alone. The loneliness pandemic, epidemic, whatever you want to call it, in this nation is terrible. People need an excuse to get out of the house. They need an excuse to get out, and find apartment communities that have tennis courts as well. 70 to 80% of people that live in apartment communities have considered suicide because they're so lonely. Wow. If you want to make a difference in your community, take that, understand that, and figure out how to be a part of the solution and do something great for your community.
I think that's awesome. I think the whole hashtag Pickle for Purpose, is definitely something that needs to, go, mainstream. And I love the ability to take something that's whack into woe. As you know, it's what I do for a living. Like legitimately, it's one of those things to where I will second this to where if they don't know, they don't know. Right. So do whoever you are, when you're out there and you've got something in your community that without a shadow of a doubt that you want to fix, then you're going to have to, I don't want you to be the big ugly make a stink about it, but I do want you to be the squeaky wheel that can at least communicate on what's going on. And I feel like you taking 5 minutes to create a Facebook group on a rundown tennis court that you're willing to take the lead on getting rehabbed, whether that means helping provide funding or finding somebody that can, or legitimately going to your county council and saying, hey, we've got this place that's not being used. Let me get in here and make this thing right. I think you would get I think you'd get a lot more momentum than what you think.
Yeah. And if you're in the state of South Carolina, and you don't pay me for any of this, but I've seen First Class Painting and Restoration create pickleball courts.
Right.
So whether that's repainting, repaving, the making the lines, all that kind of stuff. So that if that's point A, they can also, First Class Painting and Restoration will also point you in the right direction. And you guys can always visit First Class Charleston. That's 1stclasscharleston.com to figure out what they're doing, or call 843-324-6006. The only reason I know that is I'm staring at one of your awesome trucks. You guys, everybody's seen a First Class Painting and Restoration truck.
Wow. Good Lord. Who is on this podcast, and let's have them more. But yes, in secondary, I'll be more, and even if you just DM me, it is something that I've got more than experience and more than knowledge to help you with. If you're in Tulsa, I can answer questions for you on what, what that looks like on cost wise, so you know what the budget should look like for you to rehab a tennis court. I, of course, would be more than happy to come to Tulsa and help you with your court, but you probably have a local guy that can do it a lot less inexpensive than I can. But most importantly, to end on this, is Pickle for Purpose it's a big deal. Like legitimately finding means and ways to get out there with a paddle and get smashing a plastic ball can really change your community. It can change you for so much differently things that if you're not doing it, you owe yourself to get out there.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on, Tommy.
Josh, it's been awesome. I cannot wait to do it again. And please give us your stuff. Where can these guys find you? What are you involved in? And how do they find more about Josh Gale?
Yeah, absolutely. So Sean and my wife and I are in a band called Gale Bird. Sean, by the way, I keep referencing Sean. He's behind the camera.
He's the guy.
He's the guy doing the audio and the video and everything. We're in a band called Gale Bird. We just signed our first recording contract.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, and so it's a big deal for us. We'll be putting out 6 new songs over the next year. Gale Bird, GALEBIRD.com. You can put it in the show notes and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
Stream the 4 songs that we do do have out. This is your safe for the whole family. It's not worship. It's not any of that stuff. It is alternative country.
Okay.
So it's, you know, some boys from Charleston, South Carolina,
Right.
and a man and his wife that are trying to make music that's hopeful, that's not just lamenting all the time, and it's safe for the entire family. And we put on one heck of a show. We've got a show on August 28th at one of the first places we ever played when we were in our early 20s, called All in Dall Green. We're gonna go out there, sweat together, and we're gonna put on an incredible concert. So you don't want to miss that. It starts around 5:00 whenever you get off work, and we'll be playing at 7:30.
Wow. Dude, thank you so much. Looking forward to it. And if you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, please DM us. And please do not forget to smash that like button on the YouTube. And we look forward to the next podcast. Thanks, guys. All right, Captain Josh, show me your grip on your beloved pickleball paddle.
So, dude, I'm bringing in the Forrest Gump, paddle, ping pong paddle, because I kind of like when you choke up on a pencil, you have more control. I feel like if I'm here, I can, do certain things and manipulate the paddle as much as I need to. Am I right or am I wrong?
Oh my Lanta. We're gonna start from scratch.
Okay.
First of all, shake my hand.
Yeah.
Now I want you to shake the paddle's hand.
Okay.
Welcome to pickleball.
Okay.
So any digits that are on our paddle are going to create ball to digit. We don't put your finger back up there, Mr. Forrest Gump. We don't want any ball to digit. Because
Okay.
ball hits digit, what does it do?
This to go
It
forward.
just goes down.
Yeah.
So we want literally, so when you shake my hand, this is called continental grip. You're going to shake that paddle just like you shake somebody's hand.
Yep.
The more advanced that you get and become, the more that your hand is going to move. I would like it, honestly, to get to the point where your pinky's not even on the paddle. Now, Mr. Forrest Gump, show me your little pronation.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah.
most importantly, no tension. So the more tension that we have on our forearm, go back up to here and grab it with your Forrest Gump grip. Go ahead. Now we have tension here. Do you feel
Yeah.
this tightness right
Oh,
here?
yeah.
I want
Yeah,
that to go away. That creates tennis elbow, and then all of a sudden you're not playing pickleball anymore because your arm hurts.
Right.
Now, show me pronation one more time. You're going to turn it over. So now there's no tension.
Right.
So as the words of the great Bruce Lee, tighter muscle, slower muscle, loose muscle, fast muscle. We want very, very, very loose muscle so you have fast hands.
I love that.
That's your tip of the day with paddle grip matter. So this is continental grip. You're going to shake my hand. You're going to shake the paddle's hand. We're going to start from there, and we're going to baby it till we get to the point where our pinky is off this paddle, and now you feel comfortable there.